To my podcast about sports, about sports.
Howdy, Ags from the Tailgate, home of Aggie football. Today's episode brought to you by Matthews Electric, full-service electrical contractor in the Brazos Valley. No job too big, no job too small. Call Blaine at 979-220-6403. Light up your home, light up your life. Don't forget to email us at agstailgate@gmail.com. Subscribe on the YouTube channel. You can always catch us on YouTube. We do have a couple of comments on the YouTube to put out today. The comments today brought to you by Providence Financial Coaching. Call Steve Gay, Certified Financial Counselor at 863-732-6224. Integrity, accountability, resourcefulness, and financial coaching. Visit their website at providencefinancialcoaching.com. Over 20 years of experience in corporate financing. Aggie owned and operated. All right, so we got a comment from J. Paul. He says that the reality is that we are not developing talent. Look at guys like Dabani and Robinson, who a year ago, 2 years ago, people were considered as draft-type prospects, and now they're free agent signings at best. Any thoughts on that? Jay, you want to start us off?
I mean, I agree with him. You know what I mean? You go from possibly being the first couple of round draft pick to undrafted, you're not developing.
Yeah, that's the wrong trajectory, right? It should go the other way. Corey, what do you think?
No, I agree. I mean, we've been saying that the whole time. It's like Leighton Robinson, he hasn't got any better. Imani has pretty much stayed course. But Leighton has gotten, I mean, it's been
actually gotten worse.
I feel bad for the guy because I think he's got all the talent in the world. It's just the system isn't helping. The coaches, nobody's helping.
Him and Adazio have definitely not mixed. So before we get into the Aggie football game coming up this Saturday, Jay, tell us who you repping today, bud.
You see me?
Oh, got a little Ranger love here. A little Ranger love.
See me?
And for those of you guys listening that don't understand, you know, I'm a huge Aggie fan. Corey is a New York Yankee fan. Nobody understands that shit. And so my boy Jay is definitely rubbing some shit in today.
Yeah.
Hey, good for the Rangers, man. Good for the Rangers. I hope they go ahead and close the deal.
That wasn't even a good game last night. That was a bad game. That was an ass whooping.
It wasn't a good game the last 2 games.
It didn't even make it through the first one out. I got one out. That's it.
The worst part about this whole ordeal is like what I don't understand is how not one single home team can win a game, right?
It's crazy.
It's baseball.
It's baseball. It's different.
Yeah.
What is up with that? What is up with that?
Well, I looked at it different, because I can't. The guy that has the swag, all the swag, people was down in that, dude. You know what I mean? Like, you got to play this game with a swag. Just because he pumping his chest and when he hit the baseball and Altuve hit a home run and run around the bases, that's not entertainment. This world is about entertainment, bro.
You know, and baseball is different in that way now. Back in the day, boy, that son of a gun would have got plunked like 6 times for doing that shit. But you're right. Yeah. Nowadays they let them play, man, because the fact of the matter is, it is about entertainment. And
hey, he did get plunked.
That was an accidental plunking, though.
Dude, if you hit him like that, I don't think that was accidental. Everybody saw like that. They're like, that shit was on purpose, man. I don't care if it's the playoffs or not. That's what Dusty said. We're in the playoffs. Why are we going to hit it?
Why would we hit it? Here's the other piece of news for the Astros. There is talk of Dusty retirement. I don't know that Astros fans have gotten better news in the last couple of years than that right there.
Oh, man. How old is Dusty?
Old.
He old.
I was going to say.
Yeah, he old. All right, so let's move on from baseball. Let's talk a little Aggie football, man. Aggies play South Carolina Gamecocks at Kyle Field, 11 a.m. kickoff, man. You know, it's one of those things that at my office, my boss is an OU fan, right? And you know, he's so excited to get into the SEC because he believes that he's finally going to have kickoffs that aren't 11 a.m. kickoffs. Well, as Aggies, we've now regressed to the point that all our kickoffs are 11 a.m. Thank you, Jimbo, for that.
I like early games.
Hey, dude, that lets you know we're not going in the right direction playing at 11.
Yeah.
I like the early games. I'm still sober for those.
You know who doesn't play at 11? Alabama. They don't play at 11 ever.
Ohio State played last week at 11 against Penn State.
When's the last time Ohio State won shit? Talk to me lately. All right, so game televised on ESPN. All right, Texas A&M. We know what's going on here, right? 4-3 overall, 2-2 in the conference. The last two games, Tennessee, Alabama. You know, they're coming off the bye week. This is sort of going to be. They're clearly not even close here. The more talented team between the two. They're playing at home. South Carolina 2-5 overall. Probably a disappointing year for those guys as it is. 1-4 in the SEC. Beamer is like kicking shit and breaking his foot.
Yeah.
They're 0-3 on the road. Their only two wins are against Furman. Nobody does anybody even know where the hell Furman is? The hell with that.
Yes. I know where it's at.
37-30.
I'm from that area. It's in North Carolina.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, that's the only reason you know why that it's there, because it's
I don't know. I made that up, so I don't know.
you're probably right. Furman, really. Anyway, look, this matchup should be a matchup, right? I mean, Jay, let me ask you this, man. This game should be one of those like over at halftime, Aggies coasting second team into the second half, you know, into the fourth quarter, chilling.
It should be. But, man, the way it's going, man, you never know.
We know too well.
We know too well.
Corey, I mean, talent-wise, we know the equation talent-wise. I mean,
last year we played South Carolina. I remember the game well. Started off, they got a kickoff return for a touchdown, and then a couple turnovers. Before you knew it, blink of the eye, we were down 20 points or some shit. And
I think it was 17-0 with like 4 minutes off the clock or some shit.
Yeah, it was something stupid. I mean, that was just Aggie luck last year, and it was a friend of mine put $1,000 on that game, and I was like,
One of the names.
Unbelievable. Lost that money.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I've been saying this all along. I mean, we should have beat teams we've already lost to. We just don't do that. We get coached down for some reason. We play down to our competition. We don't play up to it sometimes. Sometimes we do. We get close to beating those teams, so it gives us excitement. And then we beat the shit out of nobodies, like the Nacogdoches, like J-Chain was saying last week. And we beat the shit out of those teams. So
stat game is what I call them.
Yeah, I mean, we win those games. We beat the hell out of some of those teams, except for App State. But
I think the big deal here, the big deal in this matchup, and I think it does, to me, it has the potential to be the biggest win, not the best win because it's not a big win, right? It's not a great win. It's South Carolina, they're 2-5, whatever. But it could be the biggest win point wise for A&M and the SEC this year. And I say that because I don't think South Carolina matches up front on either side of the ball, you know, and let's start with the South Carolina offense against the Aggie defense. You know, the front seven for the Aggies should absolutely demolish those guys, right? I mean, that offensive line's got all kinds of holes. They don't have a running game that you need to worry about at all. The only thing you need to do is go out there and rush the passer and make rattle, right? You got to go rattle. Corey, what do you think?
Man, I'll tell you, I was a big Spencer Rattler fan when he was a freshman at Oklahoma. I thought the guy had worlds of talent. I think he still does. I think it's all between his shoulders that he messes up. But that South Carolina team, the offensive line's not good. Like you said, I don't know if we're healthy on defense. I'm not sure. I mean, all I've heard is Jimbo talk. I guess
coming off the bye, you're going to be as healthy as you're going to be, right?
Well, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Nolan. I haven't heard anything about Coop. I don't know what's going on. But even without those two guys, we should still dominate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we got talent. We got them.
So
No,
Jay,
that's been the talent. That's every game we have as much talent or more than anybody we play. But we still get let down because of coaching.
sure
Record.
today is or Saturday is probably the biggest discrepancy between the two teams. Jay, in this scenario, in this matchup, with our front, the guys that we have in there, and hopefully Cooper is ready to go, and hopefully Nolan's ready to go. Those two guys are big time difference makers. But either way, even without them, we've got so much talent up front. They've got that deficiency. They can't run the football. I mean, how would it be possible for this South Carolina offense to actually do some damage?
I mean, they put their pants on just like A&M do. You know what I mean? It's you never know, bro. You know what I mean? Like they can come out and have the best game of the year. I mean, it can happen.
Yeah,
unfortunately, it can happen.
And look, and I wouldn't be quite as maybe dismissive of this offense if they had all their pieces right. They lost their best receiver early on in the season in Juice Wells, right? Leggett's done a pretty good job of stepping up, but it's only him. They use the tight end some. The tailbacks are so, right? I mean, they don't and they don't get any blocking from. It's all which basically puts it all on Rattler, right? Spencer is responsible for making this offense go. And if he's not able to get the ball out, if he's not able to make plays, they're in a bind. It's on him. And that's a big burden to carry on those shoulders when you've got, McKinley Jackson, when you've got Walter Nolan, Shamar Turner, right? Stewart, when you've got Diggs, when you've got Cooper, when you've got, all these guys after your ass, Overton. I mean, we can name them, just continue to name them. There's so many great upfront players for the Aggies. When they're coming after your ass, I mean, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, right?
Well, you got to – something just popped up, and when you said Cooper, I mean, you got to think, like, he's a draft pick, right?
They listed him the other day. They listed him the other day as the second on the list of defensive Heismans in the country. ESPN did.
So you got to think where his mind is right now.
Where is that at?
NFL bound. Why waste his time?
Why come back and play the rest of the year when you've got such good tape so far?
Correct.
You might as well just stick to it and get drafted.
Right. Correct.
You don't want to take a chance of getting hurt and losing your draft stat, right? I mean,
nope.
For a season that doesn't matter.
Correct.
That's a great point. That is a great point, Jay. I hadn't even thought of it. I hadn't even thought.
I hate to hear that, but it's true. You hate to hear it, but it's true. Damn.
That's what. Go ahead.
And I was going to say, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't blame him.
I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't like it, but I wouldn't blame him.
Yeah.
I'm always going to think like the athlete.
Well, yeah. I enjoy watching him play, dude. I mean, I want to see him play on Sundays too, but damn, I want to see him play with the Aggies just a couple more games. I see what he's turned into, man. I'm talking nobody's stock has changed like his has over one season. Yeah. Gone from nothing to something in 6 or 8 weeks, something crazy.
Well, I'm for the athlete, so I'm gonna think like that.
Jay, and I'm gonna tell you, prior to last season, Corey will tell you this, right? Because he called me out on it all year long. Prior to last season, I had seen so much from Cooper at that time, athleticism and the things that he was doing. I said, this dude is going to be the SEC Defensive Player of the Year this year. And I said it prior to last year. And I was wrong. Last year, he played like shit. Coaching staff didn't really put him in positions to be successful there. But you see where the translation is. The talent is there. That should have been coming out already. And this year, it's very clear he's got it.
Well, you got to think about it, dog. I played with a player that was similar in his situation. Von Miller.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Vaughn was a friend guy.
That's right. And but Vaughn didn't take shit off when he was a senior, man. Vaughn didn't.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's how he ended up number 2, right?
Right.
I think Cooper has got a chance to look, and I don't know, maybe he's done enough, but if he comes back and just absolutely continues to ball out, stays healthy, I think he's got a chance to get into the first round conversation, right? Because of the fact that he's able to do it, bringing pressure, and we know what the NFL thinks about guys that bring pressure, right? Those are critical guys. Not only that, as a linebacker, he's pretty good in coverage, which absolutely helps out his cause in that area. You know, in the NFL, where all they worry about is passing, right? So to me, he's a prototypical NFL linebacker that can make plays both in the rush and in the coverage. I mean, I love the kid. I think he's great. So, I mean, I think generally speaking, this matchup to me is the fact that their O-line versus our D-line. And that to me is a matchup that the Aggies should dominate all year, right? Every single down.
Right.
Now, I went back and watched some of South Carolina's football. They've had that deficiency all year. They've struggled. They're only scoring 26, 27 points a game. But they've had that deficiency, and they've had to sort of adjust, right? So now they're doing a lot of things to try to get Rattler out from behind the offensive line. They're doing some sprint out, they're doing some boot and stuff like that. But ultimately, you still have to protect them from time to time, right?
Yeah. Hey, Leo, I'll tell you what, I was looking at South Carolina's schedule this year.
Yeah.
They haven't played that bad. I mean, I look at their stats. I mean, they kept the Georgia game close. They lost by 10 to Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Georgia, number one team in the country, at Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Durkin can lose this game for us. I mean, I don't count on much from our offense because they suck. They do.
They started that game against Georgia with Juice Wells on the field, and I think he even scored a big-time touchdown and got hurt right after.
Yeah. I think South Carolina came out of the gate and scored like the first 10 or 14 points of the game. We were like, whoa.
That's true.
No, I think that Durkin can overcoach this game like he has in the past. If he just does a three-man rush and drops everybody, we're going to get killed.
Yeah, that's true.
We've seen it happen. So, I mean, the spread's 14 points. I wouldn't take A&M on 14 points.
So let's shift over to the other side of the ball, because you point that out, right? I mean, we think that we've got a great advantage talent-wise, but at the end of the day, if we sit back and are passive in the way we play defense, that changes the math, right? It changes all the math. And with our offense, sometimes that's sort of what happens, right? We're kind of passive, right? And look, the South Carolina defense has not been good. They're allowing 31.7 points a game. They give up over 300 yards in the air, 140 something on the ground. Their defense struggles in all phases, right? But unfortunately, the question is, when you're facing South Carolina's defense and their D-line is not great, will our not great offensive line be able to do anything to stop them, Jay?
I mean, if we don't make any adjustments, it's going to be the same news.
There you have it.
We have to make adjustments, man. And like I said, man, dude, I've gotten beaten by teams like this before. So as a player, man, I mean, it's you never know, man.
You got to think that coming off two back-to-back losses, that this team is hungry for a win, right? I mean, with the way the season's gone, you may worry about maybe these guys, coming off the bye, whatever they're just kind of like, hey, South Carolina's not any good. We ain't worried about. But I think coming off two losses, you'd think they'd be hungry for a win. How does that play?
I mean, yes, you hungry for a win, but man, if you ain't got it, you ain't got it. I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, South Carolina watch film. They see tendencies, they see weaknesses, and they're gonna attack the weaknesses. I mean, if you don't make the adjustments, what you've been putting out on tape, they're gonna do the same deal that what Alabama done, the same deal what Miami done, the same deal what what the other teams they lost to, they're gonna do the same stuff.
Corey, with their defense, that they're based out of a 4-2-5, but they like to play. They're very happy bending, not breaking. Right? They're going to rush 4. They're going to put 7 in coverage. They're going to go back, play a ton of zone, keep some safeties deep, try to keep you underneath. Right? That's sort of the defense that they like to play. With our matchup against them, does that give us the? I mean, do you try to favor the run maybe in that scenario? What do you do?
Well, like, it was kind of like what Jorvorskie said. It's about adjustments, and we don't make them. We plan for we script like the first 10 plays of the game, and we look great. After that, it goes back to the same shit you've been seeing for the last 2 years. It sucks. We don't make adjustments. I'm not. I mean, there have been a break. I think who was it? Auburn and maybe Arkansas were about the same kind of defenses. They were probably more athletic. Maybe Auburn was, but we saw what we did against them. We looked good in the first half. Second half, we didn't make any adjustments. Arkansas, we looked good in the first half. Didn't make any adjustments in the second half. We didn't do anything. We threw a touchdown pass to their team coming out the gate. I mean, it's just I don't know. I mean, I'm nervous about this game, to be honest with you. I think we should win on paper. We should dominate this game. If you tell me their quarterback is probably better than ours, our offensive line is probably better than theirs, and that's saying something. That sucks. That means your offensive line sucks if our offensive line
Only
is better.
position on the entire field that they may have an advantage is at quarterback, and I'm not even sure
That's what I'm saying. But if you sit there and do that, but where's the other advantage? They have advantage at coaching, probably, because they're going to make adjustments. They're probably going to play to their strengths, and we're not going to do that.
Right.
If we are running the football ever this year, it's going to be against South Carolina. That's what I'm saying today. Jorvorskie, what does this running game have to do to get going?
I mean, as a running back, right? I would say that going into the game, you already know that your offensive line is suspect, right? So as a running back, you got to make plays. You got to this week. You got to make 2 misses.
Yeah, no, and they literally have had to do that all year, right? I mean, they've always got to make somebody miss in order to make a play. We've been seeing more and more of Moss and Owens, a little bit less of Daniels. Do we see that continuing?
Well, I mean, at this point of the season, you're really not playing for nothing, right? What is there to lose? So your young guys should be getting some more burn.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, all right, we'll get into a prediction here, score-wise, here in just a second. But before we do, who is going to be your players of the game? Let's start offensively. Jay, tell me who you think is going to be the player of the game offensively for the Aggies.
From what I've seen, and I would say Evan Stewart.
They were trying to feed him the ball the last game. They weren't really successful doing it, but they were trying. Corey, who do you think?
Owens. Give it to the young guy. If they're gonna run the ball, I think Owens will be a horse. Like you said, the season there ain't much to play for now. Let's see what he's got. Let the young man feed him.
I like it. I like that. And I wouldn't be surprised. It may be Moss, right? But I wouldn't be surprised if one of those tailbacks has their best game on Saturday. How about defensively, Corey? You started off on defense.
Man, if we're gonna put pressure on them, I think it's gonna be the same guys that keep bringing it. I mean, I like Diggs. I like Diggs to get that corner pressure. I like the interior to bring it inside, and once they do, I think Diggs will be one-on-one, be coming around the outside. Him, maybe Silla, Overton, one of those guys. Maybe Coop if he's playing.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Jorvorskie?
You know what? I would say the safety, Richardson.
Oh,
Damani. I like it.
Yeah, I haven't said his name all year.
And here's the thing: they're gonna have to throw the football. So you're gonna have plenty of opportunities to pressure the quarterback, and hopefully you can pressure them into some bad throws that some of those safeties can get their
Because I don't think Cooper will play. I mean, I'm thinking business right now.
I got you.
Hey, we'll find out. We'll find out whether this is business or passion coming back. So let's go predictions. So the Aggies are favored by 14, and the over-under is 54.5. What do we think this score is going to look like? Jorvorskie, you want to give us your first? You want to go first?
I would say 35-14.
Ooh, I like it.
Who?
A&M.
Oh, I was waiting. I was like, who? I'm gonna go a little bit higher than that. I think they're gonna score some points on us. I think they're going. We've been getting burnt deep, and I think they get a couple lucky ones in there. I'm gonna say like 42-31.
So no cover.
No.
Ooh, Corey.
I told you I don't trust the. I'm afraid we might even lose this damn game. Last year I thought we were going to kill them, and we lost.
Look, I've done it all year. I've been such a freaking homer all year long. Right? I've always said I've given the Aggies all the credit in the world. I've given the talent on that team all the credit in the world, and I've done my predictions accordingly. This may be the last time, but I'm going to do it again because honestly, I cannot.
We're gonna lose money again this weekend.
Yeah, because I cannot fathom how we don't beat this team by 30. Now, I'm not going to say we're going to beat them by 30, but I am going to say we're going to beat them by like 25, and I'm going to go 42. How do you subtract 25 from 42 for me?
17.
17. There you go. That's your score. 42-17 Aggies. That's both an over and a cover. That's my prediction.
Okay.
One of those 42, at least one of those scores is going to be a defensive score, by the way.
I think a couple of them might be. The way the offenses look lately, it might be a few of them. Might be like 35 of it.
You might need to score 42, you might need like 4 of them. All right, let's go to college football. A quick recap from this past weekend. We didn't get to do it this last time. So Ohio State, Penn State, Penn State, big defensive matchup all throughout the game. The offenses, but I thought both looked like crap.
They did.
Harrison Jr. is the difference between those two teams, if you ask me. And obviously, they pulled it out. Corey, what'd you think?
I thought the BS penalty where the quarterback got sacked and fumbled and they returned it for a touchdown. I thought that was an iffy call, and that turned the game right there. I mean, Penn State would have, I think, taken the lead or whatever on that one play.
Yeah. Good point.
It was a turning point.
Jay, these are two teams that were supposed, in the running to be one of the best teams in the country. What do you think?
Man, like I say, man, as I'm always looking at it as an athlete. Man, you never know. I'm gonna leave it up to you guys.
In this case, you're right. The athlete, Marvin Harrison Jr., man, the dude showed out. And once again, and he's been it all year long for Ohio State, right? He's the difference in that team losing, period.
Yeah.
Tennessee, Bama. Bama wins by 14. Was it by 14, Corey?
Yeah, they pulled away second half.
Pulled away.
34-20.
Look, we know both of these teams obviously very well. The last two teams we faced. What do you think of the matchup?
I thought it was a great first half.
Yeah.
I thought Tennessee was going to pull it off.
Yeah, Tennessee was up 20-7.
Yeah.
It just fell apart, man. I don't know. Supposedly that fourth down call you went for after that, it just went to shit. You don't know how.
I'm a firm believer that Alabama just keeps getting better and better and better. They're going to continue to do so. I don't know what's up with that. They have something going this year. I'm impressed.
I'll tell you that Tennessee looked totally different in that first half against Alabama than they did against us. I mean, Milton was throwing the ball. He looked good. He looked like crap against us. But the first half against Alabama, I was like, damn, this guy looks pretty good. Second half, came back to the A&M game.
Hey, Mizzou sits in there. I think they need to start getting some damn respect. They got one loss on the season. It's to LSU. It was a close game. Man, I didn't give them any respect before the season. I think they deserve some. Jay, what do you think about Mizzou, man?
Hey, man, let me tell you something. Mizzou not playing no games right now.
Yeah. Ole Miss pulls it out against Auburn. Not really all that impressed with either one of them. What do you think, Corey?
I just don't get why these teams are having problems with Auburn. I saw them against A&M. There's a big discrepancy in talent. I mean, it's the quarterback position, throwing the ball. You can't throw the ball in college football at all. You become so one-dimensional. Teams just key on that, and Auburn can't throw the ball.
Yeah.
And the other side of this thing to me is Ole Miss for some reason. I mean, obviously they've been winning ball games, right? But other than the shellacking they took to Alabama, but they just seem to underwhelm. That offense really hasn't clicked as much as you would have expected it to at this point, Jay. I don't know. I just haven't been as impressed with that offense as I thought I would be. What do you think?
Well, I mean, like I said, it's been a lot of football played right now, right? So, I mean, with teams struggling, has a lot to do with the mental fatigue that goes on too with the amount of football that's been played in the season. It's hard, bro. Most of these kids are kids still.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So that I call it the rookie wall. That rookie wall is real.
Look, we had a couple of, I think Michigan and FSU continue to show out over there. They're right at the front of the line of folks that think that are likely to make the playoffs. Oklahoma stays undefeated with a narrow win. UNC, your boys in Carolina, come up with an absolute dud, get beat by Virginia.
I've been telling all y'all about that. I've been telling y'all to shut up about Carolina, that they're going to get their heads too big. And what happened? They lose to a team that sucks.
Yeah, should have listened. Virginia sucks. That's an embarrassing loss for Mac Brown. Texas gets a narrow victory over Houston. They get a lot of help from the refs Jay, did you watch that game at the end there?
Oh, man, I threw the damn remote at the TV.
Man, that spot and that last drive by U of H, it's an embarrassment for the Big 12, man. That's a joke.
Hey, I don't know what you're talking about.
Dude.
In the last drive by U of H, they're sitting there driving down the field. They're inside. They're right at the it's third down and 1 or third down and 2, right at the 11-yard line, somewhere around there, going in. And they hand the ball off. They run it. The guy clearly makes it across to the 9-yard line. They get a spot almost a yard shy, and so they call it fourth down. No review, no nothing on the spot. And so when they go for it on fourth down, they don't get it. But it was a clear first down. Horrible spot by the Big 12 officials. I just thought it was embarrassing.
Why didn't they review it?
I don't know. It was within inside of 2 minutes, so it would have had to been a booth review, right? And they decided not to.
Did you watch the first quarter of that game?
Not as much the first quarter. I watched towards the end.
Yeah, me too.
It was 21-0. It was 21-0 Longhorns in the first 10 minutes, and I was like, "This game's over." I turned it off.
And then Ewers got hurt in the third quarter.
Huh?
Ewers got hurt in the third quarter too.
Oh, that's a big loss.
Yeah. Let's look ahead at week 9. A couple of games that we'll target here: Georgia, Florida. Georgia's favored by 14.5, 47 over under. Is this going to be a game, Corey?
It might be. Bowers is out. So, I mean, I'm not really sold on this Georgia team. They have talent.
Everybody's been giving Florida a ton of props lately just because of the fact that they beat Tennessee, I think. But, I mean,
on this game, I take the under. I take the under in this game if I took anything.
Jorvorskie, you give Florida a shot?
No.
Me neither. Oregon, Utah. Another big Pac-12 matchup. Both of these guys still trying to stay into the mix to try to make it to the Pac-12 championship, right? They both got one loss. Oregon's favored by 7. They're playing at Utah, 49 over under. What do you think, Jay?
I watched Utah this past weekend against USC, and I'm gonna take Utah.
Man, the way they play, that's just a system. The guy that Whittingham is just, he does. It's every year, right? The intensity with which they play, the physicality with which they play, and it's a different type of ball game. I don't know how that matches up with Oregon, but Utah's at home. I like that style. I say they cover the 7 at the very least. Corey, where's your head at?
I'm leaning Oregon. I think Oregon's probably one of the better rounded teams in the Pac-12 or whatever. Pac-16. I don't even know what they call it anymore.
We didn't mention the USC loss from last week, but that shit's starting to stir over there. Lincoln Riley's starting to catch some heat. There's things, all of a sudden, the USC faithful ain't quite as happy with their head coach as they had been the last 2 years. All the hype has caught up to them. That's going to be interesting to watch play out. Ohio State, Wisconsin, or Ohio State's favored by 14.5. Are they any chance they come off of a big game against Penn State, have a little bit of a letdown here? Corey, what do you think?
I don't think so at all. I think they look like crap. They need to look better against Wisconsin. Wisconsin's missing their quarterback.
Yeah.
They should beat the hell out of Wisconsin.
Yeah. That game this past as coaches, we always talked about it. And Jorvorskie, I'd like to get your take on this. But as coaches, we always talked about it. We knew those games that were just physical, right? Like when you go face back in the day, an Alabama team, the way how physical that defense used to be. And those offenses that just pounded you, right? And those physical ball games always, even if you won them, they had an effect on you the next ball game. Because you still had some damn bruises and bumps and sorenesses, right? You just weren't right. I wonder whether this is one of those situations. And I don't know if Wisconsin can keep up with them or not. I just think maybe I'd take the spread. What do you think, Jay? Does that affect the players?
I mean, like I always with games like this and what time of the year it is it really goes to who has the best strength and conditioning coach.
Not the Aggies.
Not anymore.
I love it. All right, some questions from the tailgate. Questions from the tailgate brought to you by Frida Homes, building Aggie dreams. Custom home builders with over 15 years of experience in the Brazos Valley. If you're looking for someone that cares about you and the details you care about, contact Frida Homes. Call Justin at 979-450-4466. When you call, just remember, everyone loves their Frida Homes.
The Frida Homes.
All right, the first one. What does Jimbo need to do to turn this program around this week? Jay, start us off.
Oh, man.
What he need to do? Call Silsbee, Texas, and get the Miller kid back.
There you go. That dude's a player.
That dude's a player, man.
That dude's a player. I love it. Corey, what do you think?
He's not going to turn the program around. I think he needs to resign.
That was going to be my answer, resign. That's what
resign this week. Just resign. Just say, hey, man, I suck. I'm sorry what I've done to the program. The program hasn't grown any. All we've done is put more money into the program, and it looks better, but
hey, for some reason, I doubt he's going to do that. I got a feeling he's going to go ahead and hang on to his money. But question number...
No, I mean, he's going to keep the money. Just resign. Just say, hey, man, I'll take the money, but I'm going to quit.
Question number 2, any players the Aggies should be worried about losing in the transfer portal as of right now?
All of them.
Yeah, all of them. No, for real. The way the portal's set up, all of them. Nobody's safe.
I'm going to give you some very specific names, and we've talked about this one, Moose. Moose, I don't understand why he hadn't transferred already, Moose. But right behind him, I'd also put Stewart. And the reason I say that is, yeah, they're targeting him, but at the end of the day, the last few weeks, he hadn't gotten numbers. So if they don't start getting him the ball and letting him make plays and show out, he's going to be on that list as well. Fathery, who can't get on the field. Moko, who apparently is having a problem. Hell, Dewberry's bench. How about Max, knowing that Connor's on his way out, and especially after he's been performing this, he may leave too. So there's some names offensively. Defensively, how about Scylla, White, both defensive ends that don't get any damn time to rush the passer? How about guys in the secondary like Gilbert and Kerr who aren't given a ton of time? Brunlow Dindy, who was one of the best recruits in that class, that number 1 class, hadn't even seen the damn field. So, who else has disappeared this year? Last year, at the end of last year, was getting some real run as a pass rusher. Martrell Harris. And that dude has done nothing this year. Why is he not on the field ever? There's some names for you. Last words, y'all.
Man, I think we're gonna lose a lot of players to the portal. To be honest, it'll be like last year. It's gonna be the same thing.
Owens.
Huh?
Owens.
Could be Owens.
Yeah, we're gonna lose some players. There's a lot of freshmen that ain't getting no playing time this year either.
And I want to let people, and a lot of freshmen that haven't gotten any playing time. I do want to let people know, man. And don't get me wrong. Look, today we've been making a little fun of where this program's at and the direction it's headed. The fact of the matter is, we love this Aggie program. We love this Aggie football team. We love Aggie Nation. And we're just absolutely frustrated with where things are at. But people don't mistake what we're saying here today as anything other than extreme love and support for this Aggie program, Texas A&M football, right?
Yes.
They deserve better.
They deserve better.
As fans, they deserve better. If you put $100 million down on the board and people are donors, they're going to expect a return on their investment. They're not getting one. That's why they're frustrated.
Yeah.
I don't put that kind of money into A&M, but damn, I don't care if I put $20 to go to a game. That's putting money into A&M's pocket. I want to see a return on my investment. I'm not seeing it.
Sure thing. Giga Maggies, J Train, C Money, AP signing out from the tailgate.